Hello there YouTube, and welcome along to Steve's Let's Talk. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Boris Johnson's speech, which happened yesterday on the 10th of May 2020, and I first of all want to just say a few things before I do get on to this, because there has been a bit of a slight change in the scheduling in terms of what was coming up on my YouTube channel this month. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing this video today. There isn't going to be a coronavirus update on Wednesday this week, which will be the 13th of May. Instead, I'm going to be doing a gaming video this Wednesday, and then on Friday I'm going to be doing another gaming video as well, and then of course I will then be doing my UK top 40 and my how many steps videos on Saturday and Sunday respectively, and then to be honest, I'm just trying to work out what other videos I can kind of push out onto my YouTube channel, so I might just see what I've got lined up, and I'll let you guys know maybe on Sunday as to what videos are coming up after my how many steps video. But that's going to be the way how this week is going to go on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial anyway. So obviously today I'm going to be talking about Boris Johnson and his speech, and then obviously the rest of the week on Wednesday and Friday this week I've got gaming videos, and then of course I've got my UK top 40 official charts, and I've also got my how many steps videos coming out on Saturday and Sunday. So that's this week's lineup on SteveOfficial. But let me talk a little bit about Boris Johnson now, because yesterday was the 10th of May 2020 at the time recording this video, and Boris set out his plans in terms of the next phase, should we say, of the lockdown here in the UK. And to be honest, it's weird, when I say the word phase I instantly think of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I feel as though we're now moving away from phase 1 and we're moving into phase 2. I kind of regret when we do eventually move into phase 3 of the lockdown, when basically we all know what happened in Infinity War. I feel as though that might end up happening with us, but there we go. And if you haven't seen Infinity War, please do. Then you'll know. But for those who watched Infinity War and Endgame, you'll know what happens at the end of phase 3. That might happen to us. Anyway, well, it might as well anyway, because since Boris Johnson's announcements last night, it has caused quite a lot of uproar and confusion across the nation last night, and even this morning, today, at the time recording this video, because basically Boris has kind of sent out a lot of mixed messaging to the nation. He addressed the nation last night at 7 o'clock, and he did a 10-minute broadcast. So he done a 10-minute broadcast, and he technically had scrapped the slogan, which was stay at home, protect the NHS and save lives. The new slogan now is stay alert, control the virus, save lives. Now, a lot of people are kind of mocking his new slogan, and to be honest, we're the only nation that are using that new slogan. Scotland aren't using that new slogan. Wales aren't using that new slogan. Northern Ireland, they're not using that new slogan neither. They're continuing to use the slogan stay at home, save lives, well, protect the NHS and save lives. So it appears that England is the only country out of the 4 nations, is the only nation, should we say, out of the 4 individual nations there are, who have changed the slogan and scrapped the stay at home slogan. So to be honest, I feel as though that's really bad, and I'll tell you why. Because the reason why I think this is purely because of the fact that a lot of people have spent the last 7 weeks at home, you know, and there are probably going to be a lot more people who are going to be continuing to stay at home. You know, you've got the vulnerable section who, you know, who aren't allowed outside, who are going to have to continue shielding themselves at home, you know, and you've got the people who work in an office but have the ability to work at home, who are also going to be still staying at home. But, you know, Boris said yesterday in his message that people who aren't able to work from home, that's people like construction workers and factory workers, will need to go back to work. Now, he said that they would need to go back today, from the 11th of May. Well, this morning it was then announced that those people weren't to go back to work until Wednesday. So there's a little bit of a confusion up there as to when those construction workers and obviously the factory workers are allowed to go back to work, which is a bit confusing, I'm pretty certain, for a lot of people in that trade, because the Foreign Secretary this morning announced that those people aren't to go back to work until Wednesday. So, you know, so there are people this morning who are probably getting ready to go back to work if they work in the construction service, or if they work in a factory service, you know, then they're being told that they can't go back until Wednesday. So there's that. And then obviously as well there is then there was also the subject of transport, and Boris is now advising the country, the nation, not to use public transport to get to work, and he would advise those people to start walking to work or cycling to work. But the problem is what if you don't have a bike? What if you live too far away that it would probably take you an hour to walk? Now, this is like me. I really don't live locally to where I work. I mean, to be honest, I'm quite a committed person myself. I tend to work, I go to work, and what I normally do is in the morning I walk for a good hour to work, and then, you know, and then on the way home I then get public transport on the way home. And, you know, obviously not everyone is able to do that. Not everyone is going to go, well, I live an hour away from work, I'm going to walk if I don't have a bike, you know. And people aren't going to go, you know, I live an hour away and so I'm going to walk to work this morning, so which means I have to get up an hour or an hour and a half earlier than what I normally do to get to work, and then I'm going to then have to walk another hour back home again, you know. So, and a lot of people, when they do finish work, I don't think they really want to be walking home for an hour, especially if they've had like a really busy, hard day at work, you know. So there is that as well, that, you know, Boris is telling people that they can now go back to work in terms of the construction workers and the factory workers as well. They can go back to work, but yet they can't use public transport, and if that's their only way of getting into work, you know, and if they don't own a bike, then how else are they meant to get to work? So that's a really mixed message right there, really is. And there is another thing as well, but from Wednesday this week, that is the 13th of May 2020, the public here in the UK will be allowed to do unlimited outdoor activity, which means they are now able to go and sit in a park, and they can catch some rays from the sun, because we've had a lot of good weather outside recently. I can confirm today that it's not really a good day, really. It is more windier outside today, but there have been days since this lockdown's been put in place, annoyingly, let's say, where we have had really, really good weather, where the weather's been really warm to the point where you would want to go to the beach, you would want to go to your local park. Well, anyway, now that summer is finally here, we are now able to do that. We are now able to go to our park and spend as much time as we want there at the park. We're able to sit on a bench. We're able to play sports, but with our family, who we live with in our house. So yeah, so that's the other thing as well. And it's really weird. Again, this is mixed messaging. It is really mixed messaging. And I'll tell you why in a second, because there is another thing that he also said yesterday, and he said you could also drive to other destinations as well. So this raises a question here. What are those other destinations that you can drive to? You know, that's a question that's just been left unanswered. Is you can drive to other destinations. Yeah, what destinations are they? You didn't make that clear. You know, either that or I must have just zoned out for like 5 minutes while you said about that. You know, so there's that, and there's also as well the other thing as well is, hold on a second. So I'm allowed outside my house for as much as I want, for as unlimited time as I want. There's no time frame, you know. I'm not going to get fined by the police if I'm outside for no apparent reason, you know. But this is the other thing, is if I'm allowed to go outside, and if I'm allowed to sunbathe in a park or at the beach, and I'm 2 meters away from a stranger who I've never met before, then what is the problem with me meeting up with friends and going to sunbathe as long as we keep our distance? You know, see, that is just, again, that's really confusing. You know, is you're allowed to sunbathe in the park or on a beach or something like that, but yet you might be 2 meters away from a total stranger you've never met before, but yet you're only allowed to do that by yourself, and yet you're not allowed to meet other people to do that with. You know, even if it's just one friend that you could meet up with, you know. So again, mixed messaging. You know, are we allowed to meet our friends and sunbathe with them as long as we keep our distance? Are we not allowed to do that? Yeah, literally, this is just mixed messaging right there. You know, it just literally, I just feel as though yesterday when I came away from that 10-minute broadcast, which by the way I feel as though was just too short, right? I just felt as though there was more questions raised than answers, you know? I mean, we kind of got a roadmap yesterday as to how the UK will eventually exit the lockdown. And by the way, just so you guys know, obviously the lockdown will continue to get reviewed every 3 weeks. So just let you know that that is still going to be in place, that lockdown will be reviewed every 3 weeks. But that, so basically, people going to work who work in factories and construction sites, and unlimited outdoor activity is phase 1 of the lockdown being lifted, and that starts from this week at the time recording this video. Starts from this week commencing the 11th of May 2020. And then we then go into phase 2 of the lockdown being lifted, and that starts from the 1st of June. So after May, beginning of June 2020 here in the UK, we then go into phase 2. And phase 2 of that lockdown being lifted is some shops will be allowed to reopen again, given that they follow the same sort of rules as what supermarkets have all throughout this lockdown, and obviously abide by social distancing. And then also as well, school kids will be allowed to go back to school from the 1st of June, and we're talking the kids who are in reception year, and in year 1 and in year 6. So I think purely the kids who are in year 6, obviously, are the kids who are probably going up to year 6 next year so that they can meet their teachers and stuff. And obviously they'll be allowed to have some time with their new teachers ready for the new term in September before they split up for the summer holidays, of course. So there's that as well. I don't know, to be honest. I mean, sending kids back this early, I feel as though is just a tad bit risky, because obviously kids can still catch coronavirus. They can catch it in a different way to what adults can, but they do, obviously they still can catch coronavirus. And some kids, like reception years, maybe year 1 kids, might not understand social distancing that much, you know. So it's kind of risky sending the kids back to school now. I would have personally have kept the kids off school right up till September, to be honest, because I think then, at least then, I'd have a much clearer picture as to what's going on by September, you know, rather than sending the kids back to school now. And you know, I just don't think it would have been right, to be honest, to send the kids back to school at this stage, especially given that they're only going to have around about 6 weeks left at their schools before the summer holidays kick in, and then obviously they're off for 6 weeks. You know, they've had a good round about 6 or 7 weeks off so far from school, you know, and obviously they've been homeschooled by their parents, or they've been doing online activities, and obviously celebrities have got involved and done online videos as well. Like Joe Wicks has done PE, and David Attenborough has done geography, and etc, etc. I think Danny Dyer's also done some history lessons online as well. So yeah, obviously there's been a lot there that celebrities and obviously parents have done for the last 6 or 7 weeks to keep their kids educated at home. But again, I just don't think, you know, it would be right to send the kids back to school now, given that there's only 6 weeks left of the term. But I mean, at the same time, you can kind of argue, well, it is kind of a good thing, because they're getting to know their new teachers, ready for September, ready for when they go back after the 6 weeks summer holidays that they're going to be having. So there is that as well. So anyway, so that is phase 2 of the lockdown being lifted. And then 1 month after phase 2, by July, or sometime after July, obviously these plans could change depending on how the infection rate is and how the death toll is in the UK. By July, we could then start to see the hospitality industry reopen, and I'm talking restaurants, pubs, cinemas, etc, etc. So all of the leisure things may start to reopen from July. I think at the earliest, they were saying this morning that at the earliest they'll reopen is the 4th of July, which over in America is Independence Day. So yeah, so by July 4th at the earliest is when they're looking to start opening restaurants and pubs, obviously abiding by social distancing measures again, you know, but there we go. So that is that's a 3-stage exit plan between now and July. Obviously, like I said, things could change in that time. You know, we might not see schools going back in June. They might be then kept off till September. You just don't know. But I mean, to be honest with you, it's just a little bit weird, because I've seen exit strategies drawn up by other countries who have done a 5-stage exit plan. They've done a 5-stage exit plan, and that exit plan starts from later this month in May right through to October. So that's a 6-month exit plan for them to go back to some normality. Obviously, when things do reopen in its entirety, and I'm talking pubs, restaurants, cinemas, shops, all of those other places, you know, obviously there's going to still be the social distancing measures put in place. That's going to be remaining a huge part in our lives until possibly next year, when we may eventually have a vaccination and we can all get vaccinated for this virus. But this is the problem, is that, you know, like I said, I've seen this 5-stage exit plan drawn up by other countries. They won't be exiting lockdown properly until at least October this year. But yet, here in the UK, we've drawn up a 3-stage exit plan on how to leave the UK lockdown, and that should be done at the earliest by July. You know? Now, I don't understand what the rush is in terms of coming out of this lockdown. I do not understand what the rush is. You know? I know that the economy needs to get back up and running again. I know this. But at the end of the day, what is more important in this country? Is it our health, or is it getting the economy back up and running again? Because personally, in my opinion, I feel as though our health would come a whole lot first, would be a whole lot more important than kickstarting the economy again within the next 2 months. You know, honestly, it's just mind-boggling that there are countries out there where I have seen them draw up these plans that lasts them right through until October, but then you've got the UK who are rushing to get out of the UK lockdown and want to kickstart the economy again within the next couple of months. But yet there are other countries out there who aren't going to be kickstarting their economy anytime soon until at least probably August or September. You know, I just do not understand why that is. Literally, really don't understand. So there is that as well, you know. So honestly, it just raises a lot more questions than answers, and you know, we're just going around in a full circle again. No one knows what's happening, no one knows what's going on, no one knows what you actually can and can't do. Apparently Boris is set to announce later on a little bit more. He's going to clear up some confusion, but then again, I don't think he will, because he'll clear up some of that confusion, but then it'll ask even more questions than answers again. So it really is a confusing time at the moment in terms of what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do, and honestly, it's just really confusing, you know. And I just feel as though that 10-minute broadcast was too short, you know. He should have been a lot more detailed in that broadcast, you know. And I feel as though that broadcast should have gone on for a half hour, at least half hour, so that he had enough time to then detail his plans out properly, to detail this week's exit plan properly, you know, because a lot of people are waking up today, a lot of people are going about their day today, and they're in their minds questioning what was said last night and thinking, am I allowed now to go outside? Am I not allowed to go outside? You know, I mean, there is one good thing about yesterday's speech that I will praise him on, and that is increasing the fines now, because I think you now get fined at least now up to £100 in the UK if you are caught outside unnecessarily. And I'm talking in terms of like maybe having a big social gathering with your friends. That's obviously going to be one of the fines that you will be given if you do break those lockdown rules like that. Obviously you are, I mean, this is the thing, you are allowed outside, but this is the thing, what if the police does stop you and asks you, what are you doing outside? You know, this is just so confusing, literally, really is confusing, because they're saying one thing, but they're saying another. You know, yeah, you can go outside, do unlimited exercising. Oh, but we're going to also increase the fines as well. By the way, I am really pleased to hear that he is increasing the fines, given that I mean, where I am, I mean, I do still see a lot of people outside. I see a lot of social gatherings still outside, people meeting up with their friends, and those are the people that do need to get fined, to be honest. But I mean, it's just weird. It really is weird, honestly. You know, and I'm trying to work my head around all of it in terms of, you know, and even the slogan itself is so confusing. Stay alert, control the virus, save lives. How am I supposed to control the virus? What if I get the virus? I can't control it then, can I? You know, no one can control the virus. Let's be truthfully honest here. We can't see the virus, so how can we be alert? You know, literally, a few weeks ago Boris said that it was an invisible mugger. Now he's saying that we all need to stay alert. You know, let me just excuse me while I put on my night vision goggles, you know, and maybe I might be able to see little particles up in the air, you know, and maybe I'll be alert and I'll stay away from those particles, those bad air particles, so that I'm, you know, so that I am alert and that I'm not going to be able to catch this virus, you know. I just don't understand literally what is going on in this world right now. I really don't understand what's going on. No one does. You know, I'm not the only one. There are people on social media that don't understand what's going on. You know, last night, after Boris's big speech on the TV, you know, what was the #1 trending thing on Twitter? It was hashtag Boris has failed. Yeah, literally, because he has. He's failed us as a country because he hasn't actually given us any clarity. You know, he hasn't actually given us any clear instructions as to how this is going to work, how this exit plan is actually going to work. You know, do I still stay at home or am I now allowed outside? We don't know. No one knows. Literally, it's just so much confusion. Anyway, so that's pretty much the main thing about last night's Boris's speech on TV, which was broadcasted on BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5 and on Sky as well last night. I'll tell you what though, there is one thing that Boris was really doing last night. Yeah, I felt a bit scared watching his speech last night. Felt like as if I should live in fear. Just purely because of how angry he looked. And how angry he was. Honestly, I could, at one point, he was there, you know, banging his fists on the table. I thought, Jesus. Honestly, I actually thought at one point he was about to, like, you know, punch the camera in. Honestly, that's literally what I thought at one point that he was gonna do. Honestly. Jeez. Anyway. So, this video might have left you with a lot more questions than answers as well. Especially given that the more and more things that I've spoke about in this video has given me even more questions to ask, you know, and to find answers to, which I probably won't, you know. Maybe it weren't really helpful me making this video, but I wanted to just get that message out there, really, you know, my thoughts and opinions on yesterday's speech. But there we go, anyway. So, there we go. That is my thoughts and opinions on Boris's speech last night. Let me know what your thoughts were on the comments down below. I'm sure you guys watching this are as confused as to what I am and what everyone else is around the world in the UK. You know, and there is another thing that I did laugh about yesterday is, you know, Boris did say in his speech yesterday that this is a virus that we've never seen before. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen a virus before in my life. I may have felt a virus, but I haven't seen a virus before. So, you know, maybe when I go outside next time, Boris, I'll look out. I'll look out for coronavirus. And if I see it, I'll run. Okay? Just like everyone else should. If you see coronavirus, just putting the message out there, run. Okay? Because it will get you. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, so like I said at the start of the video, there isn't going to be a coronavirus update episode 7 this week. I'll move that to next Wednesday instead, given that I've done this video for you guys today. And I would have probably talked a lot more about this anyway on Wednesday's video. So instead, on Wednesday and Friday this week, that's the 13th and the 15th of May, I have got 2 gaming videos coming out onto my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial, this week, so look out for that. And then of course Saturday and Sunday respectively, I've got my UK Top 40 episode 7 video and my How Many Steps video episode 7 as well, coming out on Saturday and Sunday respectively as well. And I'll let you guys know in terms of what videos will be released next week. I've just had a few change of plan videos that I wanted to do this month rather than the videos that I had originally planned to do anyway. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below to stay subscribed to my YouTube channel, and of course I'll bring you further updates as we get it. But from me though, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.